Howdy dizzles for shizzles.
I got nothing. You totally messed me up on that. How dizzle for shizzles? Oh boy,
It's gonna be a sweet one. Wow.
you could say that.
Man,
What's
it's been a
going on,
long
gang?
Freaking week, man.
Yeah. So, welcome back to the Bro Zone.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Battle Bros podcast with Mac and Alamo. I'm Mac. This is Alamo over here. And we want to welcome you back if you're joining us for the first... Nope, not doing it this early. Nope, we just started. If you're joining us for the first time, we appreciate you joining us. Welcome. And hopefully you like what you hear and possibly see if you're watching it live or if you can recap on YouTube and all that good stuff. So, yeah, let me wet the whistle here for a second. So, again, welcome. If you're, like I said, if you're joining us for the first time, this is a little thing we do on Fridays at 9 o'clock every week live. We are two friends that have known each other since high school for a better part of 20 years, and we are doing this podcast to try to help our fellow veterans in the veteran community find their next mission outside of the military, whether it's helping somebody else, whether it's improving your own life, whatever the case may be. So,
Damn skippy, brother.
Hopefully you like what you hear, and hopefully you'll keep coming back and checking us out and telling your friends about it and all that good stuff, because we're still somewhat new. This is our 7th episode. And on that note, let's get right into this. So last week was episode 6. It was I forget the name of it was. What was the name of it?
We covered stress, my man.
Boiling point. That's what it was.
Boiling point. Correct.
And we did hit on stress. So
Yes.
This week we're going to kind of continue that theme going forward. And we're going to discuss anxiety.
Yeah.
That a lot of people can experience from time to time. So we figured, what the hell? So let's just let's get right into it. So anxiety is defined as an emotion characterized by an unpleasant state of inner turmoil, often accompanied by nervous behavior, such as pacing back and forth, somatic complaints, and rumination. It includes subjectively unpleasant feelings of dread over anticipated events. Okay, so
physical and emotional turmoil. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. So this
I
is
felt a
something
lot of that this week, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So,
especially with the move, I am literally physically and emotionally drained. But we'll continue.
Anxiety along with some other emotions, but we'll get into that later. So, So let's give some examples of anxiety. So, let's see here. So let's talk about anxiety in the military. So the best way I could describe that is the story that I've told several times already. Talking about going up to Fort Benning to go to basic and being on a van for 7-8 hours, pulling up into Sand Hill at Fort Benning, having the door thrown open to some giant motherfucker looking at me going, if you know what's good for me, if you know what's good for you, you're going to get the fuck off my van right now. It was at this point he realized, it's like let's see all those videos. It was at this point he realized he done fucked up. Exactly. So you could definitely say at that point I was feeling quite a bit of anxiety.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just like, So do you have a similar or different experience when it comes to anxiety in the military there, pal?
Yeah, man. I would say most definitely freaking... Basic is obviously a given, but like when I was over in when I was in Iraq, I don't think I would get more anxious besides when like you knew that people were injured or something was going
Mm-hmm.
down. Specifically, like I remember when it was the day that we lost the the Essential Seven. It was like when we lost an entire squad, including one of our interpreters, and I was up in the gunner's hatch, and all I remember is we're pulling security. We got all the vehicles kind of ducks in a row, all that good stuff, and I remember. I started facing a certain direction. All of a sudden, I hear. Little did we know, an H bed had just gone off with the squad inside of it, including the interpreter. Um,
For
and
those of you that aren't familiar with that term, that's
yeah,
houseborn. Is that what that
yeah,
is? Houseborn?
houseborn IED, yeah, and
Basically, they just wire a whole house to explode. Some
yeah,
unfortunate soul walks inside, triggers it, and the whole thing comes down in rubble, pretty much. So,
yeah, man,
yeah.
uh, it sucked. Needless to say, I when I because the first thing I thought when the bomb went off was, holy shit, like what just happened? Every single one of us in the vehicles, we were, even it was so impactful that even with the loud ass engine next to the driver, and you remember, we drove Strikers,
Right.
um, and in the driver's hatch, the engine, you're literally sitting right next to it. So
Right.
you're in the driver's hatch. You got your screen right here, like the laptop screen right here would be your thermal gear, like your thermal screen to see things in
Mm-hmm.
thermal for nighttime and all that shit. Then you got your periscopes because obviously your hatch has got to be down when you're driving off base, and then the engine, which is right there. You can easily access any of the fucking parts that need to be changed out, any engine thing, oil filter, all that crap.
That was your job, right? Were you a driver?
No, 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 no. I was
Okay.
I was a hatch gunner. I was hatch gunner for I would say probably first 4 months of the deployment, and then they switched me down on the ground
So you
for the
went from
rest of
hatch gun. So you went from hatch gunner to dismount.
it. Right.
Okay.
And but I remember the feeling of like whenever you hear explosion, it was the same anxiety I felt when freaking some guys in my platoon actually were involved in it. Now, the fortunate part with my platoon is that when technically we got hit with a bomb, everybody ended up being okay. A couple guys had a concussion, but nobody got shrapnel, nobody got any kind of injuries or anything like that. Besides, like I said, just a few. We had a couple guys get a little concussed. Matthews for one of them. Matthews, if you ever do watch this, bruh, aka Roscoe VR Buckle, love you, bro. Still. But yeah, he was concussed for a little bit. He had to be out for I can't even remember. He'd probably be able to tell us better than I could. But I think he was out for like a couple days. But I remember even then, like it was like, oh my god, like one of our squad got hit. Shit, what the hell's going on? And you talk about freaking just
Yeah.
because all the kind of the emotions, all the kind of things that you can think of are going through your head, trying to figure out like, oh my god, like what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, are
Yeah.
they okay? Do we have any injuries? All that kind of crap. It's heavy stuff, man. Heavy
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I had a not to the same extent, but I had a similar experience one time. I don't remember all of the details because it was so long ago and it wasn't really anything crazy that was going on. But we were driving from Camp Phoenix in Kabul over to Bagram Airfield. And if we weren't driving to there, we might have been just on the road headed back up north. And we were going around that area, and all of a sudden, so I was a gunner, so I'm up in the gunner's hatch up on top of the Humvee.
Yeah.
and just, and we've got the headsets on, so we have, communication inside the truck via the whole, squad, all that kind of stuff. And freaking, we're around one of the sides of the airbase, and we just start hearing, and I was like, are we taking fire? And at first we weren't 100% certain what it was until I think we either called up or we had gotten some infotel relayed to us that they were doing controlled detonations, controlled det somewhere outside of the wire by Bagram Airfield or BAF. And it was like,
gotcha.
Okay, well, let me not have shit in my pants now. Holy crap. So yeah. But I mean, you just don't know until things kick off, man. You just don't know. It's like you're there, and it's just like this shit. So
it's crazy, man. First day in country when we got to Iraq, they were like attacking the fucking walls of Camp Stryker with like RPGs and shit. Freaking every time one of them hit, like you'd see one of our heads pop up. It was just like, if I can just hear another one like 5 minutes later, it's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, let's just say I didn't sleep much that first day. Like I was like, we're good.
I bet. So since we kind of talked about that, that would be a good military experience. So let's talk about like civilian kind of anxiety. So for me,
I already know where I'm going with this, but go ahead, bro.
I would have to say for me, for like civilian anxiety would be kind of like, so having worked in retail for quite a few years, it's like when you come in, because I worked in a very busy department of the retail store that I was employed by, and I would come in at like, not quite midday.
Quick pause, real quick. By the way, anybody that's on the live chat, I see that there's some activity going on there. If you guys have any examples of anxiety or where you guys have been anxious, go ahead and drop that down on the live feed. Again, me and Mac have said it before. We like when we have interaction. We like it when people give us input because it gives us the ability to see where your guys' heads are at, and basically what you guys have gone through and what you guys feel. So yeah, sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Do we have people in the chat right now?
Yeah. Charles Withers and
Sandberg. That's my boy. What's up, Sandberg? And then Withers, Sergeant Withers is my squad leader, and that's a good dude. So, what's up, fellas? So good to see y'all. Anyway, so yeah, civilian anxiety. So what I was going to say was, push. So I'll push right after the show. One of the example I was going to give for civilian is like coming in right before lunch. So I worked in the shooting range department for this firearms retailer, and freaking I would come in there and it would be like just insane, like just what I say in the military all the time, assholes and elbows, like just stacked with people. Like man. It was, we were just so freaking busy. Like it was great, but it also sucked because we're just like, oh, Jesus. So yeah, it was terrible. But you just get in there and like your heart sinks and you get that pit in your stomach. You're just like, this is gonna be a shit day. Not because it was anything bad, but just because it was busy. I was very proud of the guys I worked with. Shout out to all my guys that used to work range with me and the range crew at both the places. I want to mention names, but y'all know who you are. So, but yeah, freaking, just you would get there so busy and it would just be like, geez, like you knew it was not going to be a day that went quietly into the night. It was just going to be like it was there, all day long. So, what about you, man? What's your civilian anxiety example?
Where the fuck do I start?
Just pick it. Listen, I know you got a lot. Just pick a good one. Ooh, yeah. Do you have one from doing like Uber or Lyft or something like that? Any good examples?
No, actually, no. I've actually been pretty I've actually been pretty good on Uber and Lyft. Like I never really had any bad interactions really.
Hey,
Um,
you're lucky. Yeah.
yeah, you're lucky. Yeah, yeah.
No, I was
The
not so lucky, but that's another story for another time. So,
Oh, you've gotten lucky. I'm pretty sure. I'm kidding. No, never. Let me not go there. Lord, I
with
apologize.
without getting too much into it,
Yeah.
having a drunk guy come forward from your rear seat and punch you in the face, it's not what I would consider lucky.
No.
So my anxiety was definitely up that night, but then like
Yeah.
there's a lot of other emotions that kind of took over. And it's just like, ugh. So anyway, another story for another time. So
Yeah.
give me a good one, man. What you got?
For me, I got like for me, the whole thing comes down to like I'll just give the example of this week or the past couple of weeks with buying a house and just trying to. I mean, just I'm not gonna lie to you, like because I don't really keep good records because my I don't have a filing cabinet, number one, and like usually my computer is so jacked up when it comes to my forms and paperwork and all types of crap. Like it's so difficult to find everything. It's ridiculous, like so ridiculous. And
Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Just
exactly,
throwing that out
um,
there.
and yeah, and just every day leading up to closing on the house, bruh, it was just more
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
like just, and it just, it's so freaking just ridiculous how much of a pain in the ass it can be, especially when you're not prepared, which I was not. And I will admit that that was my fault. I own that. I could have done better and I should have done better. But
Picture,
holy
picture,
shit, man. Holy shit.
picture, picture in your mind's eye a tiny snowflake. And the snowflake connects with another snowflake and becomes a small rolling marble of snow.
Yeah.
That snow marble becomes a snowball the size of a baseball, the size of a grapefruit.
Correct,
Holy
my friend.
shit, it's a giant freaking movie sized ball of snow rolling down a hill. Holy shit, it's an avalanche.
Exactly.
Except, ladies and gentlemen, we're
Exactly.
going we're going to substitute the snow with stress.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those like fuck my
Yeah.
life moments. So yeah. I get it.
Yeah, no,
I get it.
it's terrible, bro. I mean,
So
if you got all your ducks in a row, I'm pretty sure it's a lot less stressful or and a lot
oh,
like you get a lot less anxious, but oh my God.
oh yeah, sure,
Ugh,
sure, sure. So the reason we wanted to bring this up, folks, we talked about a couple of things in both of those. How you get that pit in your stomach, all whatnot. The different ways that anxiety can manifest. So, going over the
exactly.
research over the last week, looking up this stuff. There are some. I'm going to read off some stuff here from something I saved. So, the physiological symptoms of anxiety may include neurological, as headache, vertigo, things along those nature, digestive, and digestive issues such as abdominal pain, nausea, diarrhea, indigestion, dry mouth, respiratory, shortness of breath, or sighing when you're breathing, cardiac, which can come in the form of palpitations, tachycardia, chest pains, muscular fatigue, muscular tremors, perspiration or itchy skin from the cutaneous way. And it can also have some issues with like frequent urination urgency,
You know what's funny is that
so
when you
on and so
mentioned the
forth.
frequent urination, you know what's funny is I've actually had that issue before. I guess I was really, and I think it was,
Were you anxious or were you overhydrated?
no, it wasn't overhydration. It
Okay,
was,
I tried to be nice there. It's all good.
no, you did try. No, 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 it was definitely, and I don't remember exactly what the situation was. I think it was, oh,
Did the light
Leo,
bulb just go off?
Leo interview.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Leo interview. Yeah.
I get a little stressed out and anxious and stuff. Like when I took my certification test for my current job, registered behavior technician, you actually have to go to a proctored test site. And if you've never done something like that before, that can be very, very intimidating because you have a dude behind glass and you have a bank of, you'll have you have a squared off bank of, computer terminals. And then the one dude will be over here in the middle just watching everybody along there. And, they're making sure you're not bringing in any stuff to cheat or to, alter your, performance on the test, so on and so forth. So yeah, that was pretty bad. And I already have a small bladder as is. So like you're in there and like you don't drink any water that day because I'm like, I'm not drinking water.
Bladder Mac. Yeah, I used to call you that when we were working together at the range. It was awesome. Hey, walnut bladder.
Listen, guy. I'm gonna be 37. I'm gonna be 37 soon. Shut up. Okay. We're not talking about that. We're not going back to high school. Oh my God. Anyway, but yeah, like you're in that test center. You're such a dick. Anyway. So this is a good example. Side note, folks, we're going a little bit off subject here.
Sorry.
This is a good example of knowing somebody for most of your life, being an absolute asshat to each other, and still loving the guy for being a friend for that long. So yeah, even though you're a dick, you asshat wearing fool, I still love the guy to death. I really do. So we're not really mad at each other. This is just, it's a really warped, twisted sense of, camaraderie and friendship and all that kind of shit. So
that's what 20 years gets you. Almost 21 now.
We're in our own relationship. Anyway. So yes. I forget where I was going with that. The test site. So shut up, dude. I hate you sometimes. So yeah, at the proctor test site, like it's very, very serious. Like you have to leave, you walk in, and the first thing you do is they give you a key. You go over to that locker, you empty all of your pockets, your cell phone, your wallet, your car keys. Like you have nothing in there. You're not even allowed to take some tests that you take. They won't let you use like menthol gum or anything or like minty gum because it helps to like fire your synapses in your brain. Or at least that's what I've been told. I don't know, but yeah. So
basically, like a law enforcement, fucking you're like your CBAT and shit like that kind of crap.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of a test.
Oh yeah. I took the FBAT way back when. I took that a couple of times. That's not that the environment, yes, but the test itself I thought was
it's very similar environment.
Okay. Yeah. So knowing what that does to us, and having examples of it, what do we do to mitigate and deal with that? If you find yourself getting anxious, and this is going to be, if you watched last week's episode, you're not really missing a whole lot. This is kind of some similar shit that we talked to last week. So one of the techniques that works well with anxiety is just breathing. I've mentioned this before. With kids. Working with kids, one of the songs that like they use a lot of like planned teaching moments, and they use a lot of mnemonic devices in the form of like little songs or little things like little sayings that they use, and one of them is stop, take a deep breath, and relax. And when you get a little bit wired and upset, you just kind of woosah, kind of make the moment chill out. And if for sometimes it might, for some people or for some circumstances, it may take longer than others. Anxiety is never fun. It can, for some people, it's pretty damn debilitating. I mean, they will have long-term effects of it. It's not just something that like, okay, it's here and it's gone. Like this is something that persists in their daily life and all that kind of jazz. So that's definitely important. Trying to remember to breathe and just, stop, be aware of what's going on around you, breathe, all that good stuff. Another technique, some people refer to it as grounding, where you just kind of take stock of what's around you. I can, if you're getting anxious, and this, I know a lot of examples are, let me rephrase that. The example that I hear a lot of people kind of go back to, especially in the veteran community, is coming back home from an overseas deployment or an overseas push or, whatever you guys call it, a tour, a hump, whatever. I mean, Alamo, I think you hit on it like within the last week or two. You know, the first time you're home and you're driving and you're having to obey the traffic laws and the red lights and the pedestrians and all that stuff, you have a lot of different stimuli and factors that go into your driving. Where over there, it's like we're driving at a high rate of speed. So, one, if there's going to be some shit going down where we end up in a tick, which is troops in contact, well, we're going to get the fuck out of there, first off. Number two, it makes it easier for us to see if anybody is trying to tail or follow us.
Correct.
So that also is why we do that. But you get back home and, you know, all that adaptation to being in a high operations tempo, in a high stress environment, you know, that kind of follows with you. And this is also going to kind of be going into our topic for next week, which we'll discuss at the end of the show. We're not going to give that away quite yet, but just know that's coming. Hold on, thought 1 second. But you get back home and you're used to driving and just constantly scanning the crowd, scanning everything, the road, the other vehicles. You just kind of have that hyper sense of awareness of what's going on. Yeah. And a lot of people get anxiety when they're driving, and you're
speaking of hyper awareness, bro. It's it took me like 3 years, like up to like 3 years ago, to like fucking actually be able to like sit in a place without my, and I'm still very leery about it. Like it took me at least another like up to like 3 years ago where I got a little bit more comfortable with like, you know, like I still look back. I have to look back. I can't not look back. But it took me at least up to about 3 years ago to like sit in a place without like having to look directly at the door.
At the exit, see who's coming in the door, looking at the fatal funnel, you know. I get it. I mean, you just kind of have to reprogram yourself to just kind of be like, okay, be aware of what's going on. Don't be hyper aware to the point of causing the physical manifestations on your body, because it's taxing. I mean, exactly. I'm sure a lot of times you go out, you know, I've heard from other people, you know, they go out and they'll do something simple like going to the store. And it's like, okay, first off, you're going to the store. You're not on a mission. You're getting milk. You don't need body armor. You don't need your weapon.
Yeah, you're not going on an extraction.
Let's go here and let's take it down to here, kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah, you're not going on some type of like personnel recovery. Yeah, you're just. I'm going to the post office box. I'll be back. But yeah, so
I'm going to Walmart. I'm going to buy the new movie that came out this past Tuesday.
Hold on a second. Now, if you're going to Walmart, that's a different story. I mean, depending on the Walmart you go to, like that. let's be honest. For all my Tampa peeps out here, I mean, if you've ever been to that USF Walmart out there by the campus, like it can be a little bit rough at times. Like
it can be hairy.
It can be a little bit like. So, but I'm sure, man, that's anywhere you go. I mean, there's certain places, you know, like it's going to cause you to be more, you know, more alert and aware versus, you know, grandmama's house. So that's an expression.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I mean, and there's a lot of different types of, you know, anxiety we can get into. There's anxiety disorders. There is like panic disorder. So we're going to kind of keep this a little bit more general, kind of paint it with a wide brush tonight.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
One of the things you should know, and this would be obviously not up for us to diagnose because we're not experts like that.
We are not medical professionals.
And we didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn Express, so we really don't know what we're talking about here. But there is a term called comorbidity, and what that means is a lot of times these things can occur, manifestations of anxiety can occur with other disorders or diagnoses or something, or something so forth, like manic depressive disorder.
They stack up, basically.
Disorders, personality disorders. They can't. Yeah, pretty much. They kind of feed off each
Yeah.
other. They can be kind of, I guess, maybe in the sense of like being symbiotic towards each other. So,
Yep.
but again, there's easy things you can do, like grounding. So I've also heard it referred to as reframing, basically just kind of painting a picture of where you are at that moment. Hey, I'm in my car. I'm in the center lane on the Summit Expressway. Yes, there's an accident, but I'm stopped. No, there's probably not too many IEDs planted on the Summit Expressway because I'm in Florida. I'm in Tampa. I'm in my car. Things are going to be okay. So, just kind of remembering where you're at in the heat of the moment. That's going to help out a lot. I mean, don't get twisted if you can help it. I mean, now other times there's legitimately, issues and concerns where I'm sorry, I don't mean to be like my eyes are darting all over the place. I got a bunch of different tabs open here, but there's a lot of times when
Walmart can be combat. It's in the chat.
You're absolutely right there.
He broke me.
Listen, if you knew this guy is hilarious as hell. He was like
man.
Before we went to Afghanistan, man, he was like my dad. Like seriously, he was my army dad, and he taught me so much shit, dude. Like if you ever meet him in person, dude, like oh my god, it's great. But yes, Walmart can be combat, absolutely, and it's great for people watching too. You want to tone up your people watching skills to be, aware of your surroundings at all times. Go to Walmart, absolutely. Let's check that out. So, but yeah, and one of the other things we talked about last week, which also includes here, if you can find something to, maybe just kind of be like a healthy distraction, like something I just recently discovered, which helps me out a lot. I have a smart TV, and it has a lot of like apps and channels that are already included on it, and I still remember them too. They're whether it's all good. What was I saying? Oh yeah. One of the apps and one of the channels that we have on the TV is it's a channel all about Bob Ross. And for those of you that don't remember, Bob Ross was
a cute little tree right here.
No.
We're gonna add in a little cloud in the background.
It's a happy little tree.
Happy little tree.
So yeah.
Freaking Bob Ross.
And I think the story was he was, I think, a technical instructor, like their version of a drill sergeant or something in the Air Force.
Yeah. I think he ended up being like some kind of tech sergeant or something like that. And then
something like that. I think he
did
was
training for a while. I know that much.
Yeah. And then afterwards, he's like, I don't want to yell at anybody else anymore. So he just started doing this painting. And he actually did painting classes while he was in the service. And he just loved it so much that he got a TV show. But dude, I mean, you want to talk about? I'm sorry, I'm just so parched tonight.
You got to stop taking the moxies. I mean,
yeah, okay, yeah. The fucking most out of shape crackhead you've ever seen in your life. Shut the hell up, Jesus. No, but what's amazing is like you just sit there, and in like 25 to 28 minutes, with no commercial break whatsoever, you see this guy transform a canvas into its own like landscape or just its own scene or setting or whatnot. And you just, I was there just bewildered, just like just straight up just dumbfounded. And I'm just like, man, I wish I could do that. But he used to teach that shit all the time.
Art is a phenomenal freaking outlet, man. For a long time, art was my outlet. I never painted. I was more of a sketch artist. Like I would just, sketch different crap and like.
I remember that, dude. In high school, you used to sketch it all the time. Yeah, I remember that too. Yep, from way back.
Awesome. When. Yeah, bro. But art, like I said, man, phenomenal. And Art's it keeps you calm. I don't know what it is. It's something about creating. Like when you're creating something, it calms you. It brings like this kind of sense of zen. Like you're just like, whew, like I'm making something. I'm turning something into. And lately, it's actually been a way I could cope with like just like people I work with, or just in general with work. Like there was I don't know if I've told you the story yet. There's this guy that comes in as a customer at my job, and I work because I work at a warehouse. And one of my managers, I won't name names, only because I want to not dime him out. I don't want to dime out the guy that I drew.
So be careful, because you've already said it was a guy. You need to be a little bit more general. I worked with said
Yeah.
person.
So either way, said individual who I work with for whatever basically always calls this guy a turd in a shirt. So 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 I actually went to town
Oh my
on
God.
drawing a turd in a polo shirt, a blue polo shirt with a grumpy looking face, like this, just like all like pooped out and like looking like a giant like cow pile, and with like little pieces of corn etched into the sides, and like little pieces of fur. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I just remember something, dude. Do you remember that one time when we worked together? You drew that picture of our buddy Bill, who was like this. He's like, "What are you doing, shithead?" So good.
Bill kept that picture. You know that?
I did. That's right.
Bill kept that picture.
Bill, if you're watching the show, man, hey, we love you. It's all good. I fucking love old man Bill. He's so funny.
Free your mind, your ass will fall. What the hell?
Hey, man. Another guy I served with. He's a good dude, man. He's I'm actually going down to see him tomorrow, so it's all good. No, but I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of help to just kind of keep yourself even keeled. I watch a lot of comedy. I love like old school comedy, like it's man, like George Carlin, and Eddie Murphy, Raw, Eddie Murphy, Delirious, Richard Pryor, all that good stuff. I mean, comedy. It's funny how you watch all the different stuff, and you can kind of definitely, if you pay enough attention to it, you can see how the mannerisms and like the subject matter and all that stuff changes and all that kind of stuff. But like the old school stuff back in the day, it's just so good. Like they gave zero fucks. Yeah. They're just like, whatever. We're gonna tell how it is, man. Woo! You want to watch some raunchy stuff, man? Paul Mooney. Just he used to write for Pryor and used to write for Eddie Murphy. That is a guy you're just like, ooh, like you're like, oh, I don't know. He's like, it's so. Some of the stuff like he listens to, man, is so damn raunchy. Like you got to turn the radio down at certain parts. Like it's bad. It's just like, woo. So
it's the kind of stuff that if you're working in an office or walking through Walmart or Target, you want to wear a headset.
Yes, but then you're laughing like a maniac. Like you're wearing one of these, you're laughing like a maniac. People are like, "What's wrong with that guy?" One of the other things I was going to mention too is I know I was just recently talking to a friend of mine. Her daughter just left for basic training. Yeah. So that's all good stuff. But I was talking to one of her friends, and he has a friend who, her friend has a guy that he knows that was in the Marine Corps, and he is having some issues with like post-traumatic stress and some other anxiety and some stuff. So he is actually going and hiking the Pacific Coast Trail. So I think it goes all the way from like California all the way up to like Washington and stuff. But the picture he should.
Because I actually contemplated doing it myself back when I was actually still in Washington. Because I thought,
oh, that's right, yeah, you were there out there for a little while.
I thought we were going to stay there. I wasn't planning on going as far as California.
You really liked it up there in Washington. You really liked your time up in Washington.
Washington State is the shit, man. It's a beautiful country out there, bro. It really is. And it I say it like it's a fucking like it's its own country. No, but like just
most people would think it's trails, a state. It's a state.
Yeah, it's just yeah. But yeah, no, it's I mean everything from mountain hikes to trails. Like, oh my god, it's freaking gorgeous out there, bro. It really is, and it was just wonderful, man. Camping, all that kind of good stuff you could do. all that kind of good stuff.
If
And it
you
was
if you
freaking
ever
awesome.
if you ever go back out there, I want to try to go with you. There's actually a place that I want to go to out there. I'll tell you about that some other time. There's a TV
Fucking
show.
do it, man.
Yeah, man. So there's a TV show that my mom got me watching. It's called Treehouse Masters. It's a little bit
Yes,
goofy and stuff.
yes, I
Yeah,
love that guy.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. He has, yeah. He's just like so chipper and happy. I'm like, you weren't
Yeah.
ever pissed on and rained on in the military. You're a free spirited guy. Okay, guy. So, but the guy builds tree houses, and like that's something else, man. Like I kind of wish I had learned a trade. Like my
Yeah.
dad always had wished he had got into woodworking, But like doing, as I get older, doing these little projects here and there, like, I actually changed a part of my car, a significant part, and I was like, I can do anything. Yeah, that made me feel awesome. But yeah, so like he's got that point. He's got a place out there
I
called
turned a
Treehouse.
nut.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was like I changed a fuel pump in my car. And I was like,
Oh.
I'm not mechanic. I'm not mechanically inclined at all. Withers will tell you, I'm not. But yeah, I'm like I'm the monkey, and this is the football kind of shit. So yeah, but
Oh, God.
no, but so that guy Pete Nelson's got a place that they're called Treehouse Point, and he's got all these
Yeah.
different tree houses he made. It's like, and he's right out there in the middle of all that in Washington State. So I would love to go check that out. It'd be freaking
Yeah, 'cause
awesome.
that's where he's based out of, is out of Washington State. But he goes all over the country, doesn't
He
and
goes
doing
all
work.
over the country, like, and that show is awesome. Like, he just brings such his freaking positive vibe to when he goes and do this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's just amazing. Like, it's so cool. But anyway, we're getting a little too far in the weeds.
Yeah, we're getting we are. We're getting off subject. Let's
So, but kind of getting back to that last bullet point, though. Finding a healthy way to distract yourself is, a great way to help alleviate stress and anxiety.
Yes.
Like Alamo talked about. I don't sketch too well because the last time I sketched something, I got made fun of by my 7-year-old daughter. So I drew a picture of my own face and then painted it in like camo face paint. She goes, "What is that supposed to be, Daddy?" I'm like, "It's me wearing army face paint." She goes, "Oh, I thought it was a watermelon." I'm just like, 7 years old. My daughters give me shit about the size of my head. Awesome.
Yep,
Not living that down.
yep.
And
Sure
now
thing, Gomer.
this is yeah. I swear to God, I hate your ass sometimes. All right, so let's start wrapping this shit up. How about it? Right,
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm done. I'm done. So just remember, folks, no matter what, there's ways you can handle it. There's ways you can help to mitigate that. There's ways that you can kind of help to
Absolutely,
lessen the strain of anxiety in your life.
Look, we're trying to bring we're trying to bring as much, like, we're trying to bring as many like tools for the tool belt, for you to kind of use to manage what you're going through in life. That we're not just here to try and be goofy bastards and all that stuff. We're trying to bring some useful information for everybody to go ahead and try and
Speak for yourself, dude.
Yeah. I know. We're trying to help people out, man. And when it comes to our military brethren, again, with the 22 a day thing, man, we want to try and prevent that, as much as we can by you giving helpful tips and all that stuff. Ding. And it's something that we're really passionate about, and it's something that we're really passionate about because we've been touched by it personally. We know people that have taken their lives because, well, they felt like they didn't have help, man. So yeah, any tools we give you, I mean, we're being goofy bastards, but any tools we can help, any way we can, help you find those tools, even if you kind of are listening to us and saying, "Hey, well, I've tried that before," or whatever, yada yada yada. Again, drop us some messages on Facebook, man. Drop us messages if you're here on the live chat. It helps
And
out,
like
bro.
we talked about, even though we are being goofy, humor is one of those tools that we use a lot. When we're
Yes.
stressed out, when we're, and like you'll notice too, a lot of times with especially with military guys, but also first responders, law enforcement, firefighter, paramedic, medical people in the medical field and whatnot. They've just got that. You'll notice they've got that kind of that warped, dark, twisted sense of humor. It's not because we're just wrong. It's a coping mechanism because of all the stressful shit you see, especially with I have no less than 10 friends of mine that I've met that are on Facebook that are nurses, and God bless every single one of you, because with what's going on in the world right now, it is it's craziness, for all this shit going on.
I'll be mentioning him here in a minute.
Oh yeah,
good
stuff.
But continue.
No, but it's just one of those things. If you can take a minute and laugh at something, you got to put that in perspective. I strongly feel like if you're laughing at something, it keeps you from past or from years past, from military service, childhood, whatever the fuck. Okay, it's something that kind of keeps you just kind of alive and gives you a minute of reprieve, and it gives you a minute to kind of think about it and go, you know what? If I'm laughing about shit, it's really not that bad. So it is what it is.
And that's the thing, is that it helps you reflect. It helps you reflect on what you've gone through, to realize that, hey, you've been through hell, you've came back, and now it's time to focus on what's really important, which is, which obviously it depends on the individual. It could be, hey, you got your family, or it could be, hey, you came back and you started a business. What is important to you at this point in time when you get back? What is important to you? What is your main drive? And that's kind of the point here, man. We're trying to that's another thing. We're trying to help guys find that point. We're trying to help guys find that important step, and we're going to continue to keep doing it, man. We're going to continue to drive on and rock on. We're going to rock out with our cocks out, as we say.
Whoa, we went a little too far on that one. Okay, so on that note, that's a good leeway into bringing up some stuff here. I'm going to share my screen real quick, Alamo. So
check
screen, blah blah blah, done, and away we go. So Macho, if you would please. So go ahead and talk about it.
So, as always, we have the Battle Bros Code. All right. We like to bring this up because we want to go ahead and we want to try and we came up with this little doodad, aka mnemonic device that as Mac likes to say, because we don't want to just sound cool. Yeah, well, yeah, it's we don't want to just sound cool when we say it. We want people to be able to go ahead and apply it to their life. Obviously, we go by the letters of in the word bros. Obviously, be tenacious in everything that you do. That means if you're a dad, you're running a Fortune 500. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, be tenacious about it. Do it 110, 150%. Give it your all. Do what you got to do to get the job done, and just be there for everything that you got to be there for, man. Romeo. Refuse to surrender. One thing that we got to stress is when you refuse, you got to refuse to surrender. Like, I say it like this: when you refuse to surrender, you're refusing to give in to the voices in your head. I kind of think of it that way only because I know where I've been. I know that I've had issues with contemplating suicide and things of that nature. And when I think of refusing to surrender, I think of refusing to give in to the voices in my head, refusing to give in to what the enemy's trying to tell me. And the enemy, for me, a lot of the times are the voices in my head telling me to do really bad shit to myself, or just to
to
or just
quit.
telling me to quit, or just telling me that I'm not worth shit. And if I can refuse to listen to those things, and I can say, hey, screw you, guy, I'm moving on, I think that's a good way to keep it going. Oscar, obliterate your obstacles. You know what? Freaking destroy those voices, man. You gotta freaking kick them in the face. Get past whatever it is that, especially in life. Again, and I like to relate it to things in life. If you got one exam separating you from a degree, if you've got you know a certification that's getting in your way of, or excuse me, completion of a certification that's getting in your way of getting into a certain profession that you want to get into, guess what, man? Give it your all to just freaking knock that shit out of the park. Get it done.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Show these bastards whose balls are bigger. And last but not least, Sierra. Seek out a friend.
We gotta talk about your metaphors here, man. Seriously.
Seek out a friend in a time of need. Guys, gals, it doesn't matter what you think. And again, I say this because I know I've been there. It doesn't matter what you think. There's always somebody there for you. There's always somebody there for you. You're gonna have your friends. You're gonna have your battle buddies that are gonna be there to help pick you back up. You just have to have the fortitude to recognize that. You got to be able to reach out, and this is what seeking out a friend in time of need means. You can't be afraid to go ahead and try and get somebody on the line, because sometimes talking about what your feelings are, getting that friend in need, could mean that difference between making the right decision or making a permanent decision for the rest of your life. And again, that's what we're here to. That's what we're here to avoid, and that's what we're here to try to help help our fellow veterans with, the guys and gals that have served. Um, and if you don't and if you really feel like you don't have your friends nearby, or if maybe you can't contact them at the time, you got the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, man, which is at 1-800-273-8255. And there's sure to be people on the line that can actually talk to you and help you out. And they'll talk you through any situation you're going through, man. I've had to use it once or twice, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I will not deny that. So, yeah, bro. All right. So, next biggie thing. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'll let you take this one over. I'm fucking up. You could take over this piece, and then I'll jump in with the other part.
So, we're gonna kind of do things a little bit differently, closing out the show this week. So, for everybody listening today, we want to say thanks so much. This truly started off as just something we wanted to do for fun, and it quickly became a passion project. This is something that we look forward to doing every single week. We're going to change up a little bit different this week, just because there's some stuff we wanted to add. We're going to, where's my notes here? So, again, closing out. Make sure if you like the show, tell your friends about it. We still want to grow. We want to, increase our outreach to other people that may need to hear this stuff. Tell them all about us. Let them know what we're here to do, what we're here about. Tell them where to find us. We are on several different platforms. You can find us on the Anchor app. You can find us on Spotify. Once the episodes get uploaded, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can also
Google
watch
Podcasts as well.
Google Podcasts as well. Thank you. You can also catch us, and we film this simultaneously via webcam and via the StreamYard website for YouTube, which is how
on the
YubTub, which is how some of you are watching it live right now. So for the folks who did join us live, Withers Sandberg, love you guys. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Before we sign off, though, we're going to do We're going to talk about a couple of things real first. I'm going to hand it back over to Alamo real
Yeah.
quick.
Quick plug to my buddy Brian Marengo. By the way, love you, pal.
Is
Thanks
this
for
the guy
reaching out.
you called Mango?
This the guy I called Mango. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
He'll know what I'm talking about.
it's
But
funny because you said Mango, and I kept thinking of that Chris Kattan character from SNL, like Mango, doing all that weird, crazy shit back in like the '90s and stuff. I don't know why I thought of that, but I was just like,
yeah.
okay.
But Mango, he was in golf company when I was with 32 Cav. Again, he was one of my boys, man. He's him and I hung out quite a bit, and he brought it to my attention that we should talk about what's
Current
going on in
events, right?
Afghanistan. Yeah, what's going on in Afghanistan and the current events, and I mean, hell, just how we as veterans ourselves feel about what the hell's going on over there. Because I know for a fact and it sucks, bro, but there's a shit ton of us that are we are beside ourselves with just freaking. I mean, there's guys that are grief stricken. There's guys that are pissed off. There's guys that are like anything you can think of, because of what's going on over there, man. And it's relatable, bro. It did for me specifically. It stresses me out in a couple different ways. One, because we abandoned our mission, in my personal opinion. At least that's how I feel. Um, and it sucks because it comes from orders from above. Because I know a lot of those people that were over there, they wouldn't have just left just to leave. They would have wanted to complete the mission as well, just like I think anybody else would have. And the fact that the country was left in the state that it is right now, I mean, it reminds me of freaking back in, I think it was like 15, 16, when freaking ISIS was just demolishing Iraq. And I think I've spoken to you about this before when, my battalion commander was the front headline photo of a news article. And I'm pretty sure it was like We Are the Mighty or something like that. And they were talking about how, we discovered ISIS before they called themselves ISIS or something weird to that nature. But, he was holding the Islamic State flag in his hand in that photo. And it fucking bugged the shit out of me because for anybody that doesn't know, Sons of Iraq was a I guess you could say like almost like a civilian fighting force for the Iraqi people. It was also very heavily infiltrated by members of ISIS at the time, and it's kind of how they ended up taking over the country so easily because they ended up being trained by us as well, which I'll let Mac Attack kind of continue and let him say his piece because we're talking about Afghanistan right now. But yeah, it blows, man.
So with the current events and the events of the last week, a lot of people have seen what's going on over there, and I've been kind of thinking about what and how I wanted to say this for the last week. First off, for guys like, the two guys here in the chat room, Withers and Sandberg, these are guys that I trained to fight, to go to war with. And, I am always thankful and grateful that I served with such, great people like this. The thing you have to remember is, I got to compose myself here. Hold on a second.
I hear you. I understand. Trust me.
The thing that, like Alamo said, to put it in a way that I heard somebody else say this week, it was the suits, not the boots. Boots on ground did their fucking mission. We went over there and we kept things together as best we could. Things didn't always go the way that we wanted. Things didn't always go the way they were supposed to go. But especially, you have to think about the reason why we went over there. We got attacked almost 20 years ago. That anniversary of 9/11 is coming up. It's 20 years this year.
Yeah.
And, we talked about that earlier in an episode, and it's like the memories of that are still fresh. So
Yeah.
when I found out that my old battalion was going over there, you damn right I raised my fucking hand. I was like, I want to go. And you got to understand too that the reason these people are freaking out is they're scared because they know how fucking evil the Taliban are. Like, these are
Yeah.
some bad motherfuckers. Excuse my French, but I'm not going to hide how I feel right now.
Yeah.
For anybody that went over there, for anybody that fought, for anybody that died over there, hold your head up high. You did your job, you did your mission, and you did it to the best of your ability. And the people over there are grateful for that. There was a couple of stories I read this week about how people were just destroyed mentally and emotionally and psychologically because now their kids don't get to go to school. I read an article.
The young
I
ladies. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget where I read it, but there was an article talking about the first time they got to see their kids go to school and learn, because the Taliban weren't having any of that shit. They wanted to keep you dumb and in the dark. They destroyed all this fucking literature to improve your higher learning. They just wanted to keep you ignorant and keep
Yeah.
you in fear. And the way that things happen, that's for the political people, and that's for the historians to decide. If you served over there, that it's wrong, and you can't do anything about that now. There are things being done because there are certain efforts being made to kind of help get people back home, like the interpreters primarily. Those are the guys that pretty much said, I'm going to put a target on my back, not intentionally, but it's going to happen because I'm going to help all the coalition forces get rid of these assholes from ruining my country.
Yeah.
And now they're going through and they're finding all these people, rounding them up and taking them out, like, systematically. So, it's a travesty and a half to see all the shit that's going on over there, and people clinging to the outside of an airplane to get out of this country because they know the reckoning that's coming. Okay.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, you went over there, you did your job, and nobody can ever take away that from you. I have never felt more respectful and attached to the people that have gone over there, and especially the guys that I served with. The guys in my platoon, in the Sec 4 platoon, when we went over there. I spent this whole week thinking about good memories and bad, and I'm just so afraid to see what happens over there. But it's shitty to see how the whole fucking thing's playing out, and it's just like I'm fucking on one side I'm just crying on the inside because all these people that have had an opportunity, a taste of freedom, are going to have that stripped away because this organization is these assholes are going to come through and do what they can. And just the way that it went down, it's not that things happened, it's the way that they happened.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest fucking thing of all, is to see all this shit on there, and just people that weren't even there that are just saying, I was almost going to join. Shut up. Okay. I get it, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you weren't over there. If you know, it's like people say all the time, if you know. And I'm not trying to single anybody out. Please understand that. Okay. That country's always going to have be a special place to me. I turned 21 over there, and I would love to one day to just go back and to visit and to see it, not having to be in the military at that time, and
See it thrive, not
yeah,
fucking just crumble.
it's like you're vested in it. You go over there, you spill your blood, you spill your sweat and tears and stuff, and you want to see it thrive. And a lot of guys are beside themselves, like, what's the shit? What's the point? Why? And it sucks. You want to, you want to make it. It's like we say, be tenacious. You want to see that shit go forward, and it's not about you. It's about the next generation that goes in there, so they get to experience it, and then their kids, and then their kids. So, it's been a frustrating fucking week. It really has, because you just have this full gamut of emotions from just like,
It does. It doesn't
bewilderment.
help that the media is painting it nowadays. Again, we're trying. We try really hard to not be too political because we want to keep it to the purpose of the podcast. But
And this isn't me being
we
political. We're talking about
yeah
current events here, and this is the only reason I
yeah
bring this up. I'm sure if some like Alamo's talking about with the shit over in Iraq. If something went on in Iraq tomorrow, I'm sure we let him. He'd want to have a little bit of an oratory going on here. And I don't mean to be up on my soapbox too much longer, but I just with all the shit going on there, I mean, there's a lot of pro-Afghanistan OEF veteran support. So if you were over there, if you served over there, and any portion of that and any in support of it, please do not get down. Okay. Hold your head up high and know that you did your mission. We kept those assholes out of our doorstep for 20 years, and we do it all over again.
Stick your chest up, hold your chin high, freaking say, let's drive the fuck on. Let's go on to the next mission.
That's what it's all about. So on that note, I appreciate you folks letting me kind of vent a little bit. Thank you. Like I said, it's been a rough week watching all this stuff on social media and on the news, and because things can get painted a certain way, and that's not me being political. It's just stating facts. You have to get your news from several sources and figure out, like, with the conglomeration of all those sources, who's telling the truth and what the actual gist of the message is. But for all the folks in Afghanistan, man, I'm praying for you. I really am. For all the people that are still trying to get home, it's going to happen. Just don't get your head down. Keep your head up. Bide your time. We'll get you out of there. And for the people that are trying to hold off on these villainous people, don't stop fighting. Don't refuse to surrender. Keep fighting the good fight. So, well, on that note, I appreciate everybody watching. Yeah, we're gonna get to that first, but because it seems kind of point. So, one of the other current event we wanted to talk about. If you've ever seen the movie or read the book, We Were Soldiers Once and Young, it was written by a reporter named Joe Galloway. Joe Galloway, in the movie We Were Soldiers, was portrayed by actor Barry Peppers, and he was actually there to cover a lot of the Battle of the Yaw-Drang Valley, which was 1st Battalion, 7th Cavalry, 1st Cav Division in Vietnam in, I think, 1965. But
65.
He was a very well-known and respected press. He'd been doing it for a long time. One of the interesting facts about Joe Galloway is that he is the only, from what I researched, he is the only civilian to ever be awarded the Bronze Star, and it was for actions during that Battle of the Yaw-Drang Valley, where he helped to pull a wounded soldier out of the fray and get him onto, I believe, a medevac helicopter.
Yeah, it was a Huey.
Yeah, it was a Huey. I think that's depicted in the movie too, but I believe he was awarded that back in, I think, 96 or 98. Yeah. So
stripping the meat off the bone and everything too.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But he recently passed away this week. He was 79 years old, and I think he actually spoke at our old high school.
God rest your soul, sir. He did. I was there. I was there the night he was there, man.
I think I missed that. I think I might have left for basic.
You did. You did. It was sophomore year. He came in sophomore year and spoke to the entire school.
I was at basic, so yeah, I missed it, but that would have been cool, man. I mean, because you think about all those guys now: Sergeant Major Plumley, General Moore, and now
Joe Galloway.
Joe Galloway.
They're all fucking gone now, man.
Yeah, they're all gone. So God rest you, sir. Thank you for what you did. So
absolutely,
it's cool finding a reporter to get it from the grunt's point of view. Actually, a lot of times, just a couple times, he actually took part in the battles that he was covering. So he picked up a weapon and was like, I need to help these guys out. So but so that's our current events section for this episode. I don't know if we're going to do it every time, but
Yeah.
They were kind of pertinent, so we decided to talk about them. But
Yeah.
so before we sign off for this episode, next week we are going to tackle a pretty big subject. We're going to talk about
a very heavy subject.
Very heavy subject. We're going to talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. We don't know yet if it's going to be a 1 or 2 part episode. That could potentially be the possibility, so be aware of that. With it being a heavy subject, we may have to split it up into 2 because
I'm thinking it might be a 2-parter.
I'm thinking so too, but we're going to start talking about that next week. Again, thank you for joining us. This has been the Battle Bros podcast. We're live every Friday night at 9 o'clock. You can check us out on the different platforms. Once the podcasts become available, it's usually the next day or the day after, usually Saturday or Sunday or Monday at the latest.
Yeah.
But you can check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts. You can check us out on the Anchor app. You can also check us on the YouTube, or as my co-host says, the YubTub. We're going to be on that, I think, pretty much right after this almost. But, you can always go back and check our previous episodes. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe on our social media, on the YouTube page. We're up around, I believe, 130 something followers now on Facebook, which is just, it's still astounding. Thank you folks for believing in us. And
we're growing by at least 1 or 2 a week.
Yeah, it's slowed down a little bit, but still positive growth. So that's awesome. I'm not going to ever say no to that, but, thank you for believing in us. Thank you for keeping us humble primarily, but we appreciate it. Hopefully you folks are learning some stuff as we are too, as we have to research the show topics. But so until next week when we talk about PTSD, thanks again for joining. We hope to see you again down the road, and go home tonight, hug your kids.
Yeah.
Hug your kids, let them know you love them, let them, just remind them and remind yourself of, the freedoms that we have that we take for granted sometimes. I know I do, but just, be humbly thankful that we are not in other parts of the country where, being one sex or another can determine going to school or not. So, but I'm going to leave that alone. So,
never forget that we are blessed to be where we are.
Yep. Staying humble. That's a big portion of what we do. So, again, folks, this has been the Battle Bros podcast, episode 7, Anxious Much, and we will see you next week, Friday night, 9 o'clock. We're going to go live on YouTube, barring any big technological delays or anything like that. But thanks for viewing. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for watching. And we love each and every one of you guys and gals. And we will hopefully see you next week. So until then, take care. I'm Mac. I don't know.
This is Alamo.
And Mac.
Sorry. Signing off.
We love you. I don't know what the hell that was about. You can see how we're both all just this. Yeah, it's just been a little bit kind of week.
We're flustered. Yeah,
we're a little bit. So thank you again very much for watching, and we love you. Stay safe and
watch out for each other.
Watch out for each other, and we'll see you next week.
Woo-hoo!
All right, take it easy, folks.